Hello friends, welcome to C# Intermediate to Advanced tutorial. Now you are watching part 4 of the subseries ThreadPool and Task. In this video, we will look at the random number generation and we will print the random number generation to the console window. So in the previous video, we talked about what is ThreadPool and queue. Then we talked about scheduling the task. Then we talked about the example. And now in this video, we will implement the example so that it will print the random number. There will be only one task at this stage, but anyhow here we are testing how the random number generation is working. So first we will create a console application. After that we will define a class called Random.Gen. As already told, if you see here, we are creating 3 private members: count, maximum, ID. So this ID will be the identifier for the task. When we create multiple tasks, we can identify the task based on the ID. Maximum tells how many random number we want to generate. This will be the running count. Say for example, random number generation will come with a count 1, 2, 3, like that. For a specific task, we will generate the random number in sequential order, and that count is maintained by this particular member. So here we will be having a public property, count, get and set. That means it's a read write. Maximum, read write property, task ID, read write property. Then we have a constructor, and in the constructor we take count, maximum as well as ID. So we initialize our internal member. So whoever is instantiating the random number gen, they will give all this information and construct the object. System.random class can generate random numbers. So the random class is available for your application because it's exposed by the system namespace. So here if you see, public static void gen random, that's the function we will write, and here we will be calling the random gen class, which we saw in the previous slide. And here if you see, the first parameter, so the first parameter is the count, how many number we want to generate. Then here we are passing maximum and then a task ID. So this one will be the task ID, which uniquely identifies the task. After that we are retrieving the same information from this rand class itself. Then we are assigning that locally here, counter, maximum and ID. Then we generate the random number class, and we are having that in a local reference gen. So console window, if you see, we are creating a console application, right? Here we are attempting to change the foreground color to green, and then we are writing starting task and ID. So ID we already retrieved from the random gen class. So we write this piece of code for testing purpose. In the next video we will make a slight adjustment. Then after printing starting task, we will set the foreground color back to white. Then here we are running the for loop based on the counter. Counter is from this one, count. So the first parameter tells how many random number we want to generate. Previously in the video it told it will generate the sequence number also, and this sequence number will go till 20. That means here we will be generating 20 random numbers, and here also you can see the loop runs for 20 times, but count starts from 0. Next method of the random, here we are creating a random number class, right? Next method gives a random number between 0 and maximum value represented by an unsigned integer. So here the second parameter what we are sending is the max. That means we can use next with a parameter of 100. That means we can generate a random number between 0 to 100. So that's also given as a property in the random gen class itself. So this is one method. Next method gives a random number between 0 and maximum value represented by an unsigned integer. The max will give random number between 0 and the maximum number whatever we specify. So if it doesn't specify this max parameter, then what is the maximum value that can be represented by an unsigned integer? So that's the range we will cover here. But max means the next method will generate a random number, then keeps that number between 0 and the parameter which you specify here. If you specify 100, the number will be between 0 to 100. If you specify 1000, the generated number will be between 0 and 1000. So here if you see console.writeLine, we specify task, we specify the ID, then number, then gen.next max. So that's what here we are generating at this moment. In the console window you will be seeing task, ID here it is 1, then number, this one, then the generated random number. Since here we are passing 100, the generated number will be between 0 to 100. So say for example 93. So once again we are changing the background color of the console window to green, then we are stating ending task ID, then we are setting the color back to white. So in this example we will be running this under a single thread. We are not going to create any task. So you will definitely see starting task in green, all the random number generation in white, then ending task in green. But in the next example, when we run the same piece of code with multiple ThreadPool task, there will be a fight of changing the background color for the console window. All thread try to access the console window at the same time and they try to change the green color. So sometime you won't see starting task in green, because before it print starting task there may be some other thread which will change the color to white. So right, all the stuff we will see in the next video. For in this video we will look at how the random number generation goes, and this random number generation, whatever you are seeing here, that will go as a task. we will turn this into a task in the next video. For now, we will proceed with this one. So in our main method, if you see, we are simply making call to this gen random. So it's a simple function call at this moment. In the next video, we will change this as a ThreadPool task. Alright, now we will proceed with the demo. Here, if you see, we created a sample application, and this is a console application. You can create your own application using file new project. Then under Visual C# Windows, click on console application, name your application, provide a solution name, then click OK. Here my solution name and project name is same, 012 ThreadPool. So the class creation already gave us the skeleton for program. Now we will create a new class. So here I am right clicking on the project name, add class, and here I am naming my class as Random.Gen. So Random.Gen is added, and you can see that in the class view as well. This is our Random.Gen class. So inside the class, we will add 3 private members. Then here I am clicking on the counter, and clicking on the private member, then choosing encapsulate field. So this is a smaller case count, that's the member, property name count in uppercase. So we will generate that. I click apply. Similarly, we will deal with the other member as well. So now we have 3 properties ready. Let's keep members together. So you can hand code, that will be easy. So this will be our public properties. Next, we will have a constructor, and the constructor initializes the internal member. So count will tell how many random number we want to generate, maximum. The generated number will be between 0 to this member maximum. Then ID for the random number generation. Now we will go to program, or in the solution explorer, program.cs, and here we will make use of system.threading. So I am including the namespace. Then we will create a static method inside our program. So this is our first piece of code. Here we will be generating the Random.Gen class. We are invoking the constructor by specifying the 3 integer parameter, and you can see So it's int c, count, maximum, and task ID. Then we are, after creating the class instance, we are reading the instance name using the properties. So if you see here, it is all caps. That means we are accessing the property random.gen.count. So we are accessing the public property and retrieving the private member and assigning it here locally inside this genRandom function. Next. So this is our class instance random.gen. Then to generate the random number, we are making use of random from system namespace. So we are creating the random instance and we are naming it as gen. Then console color, we are changing it to green. Then we are printing starting task using the console.writeLine. So before that, we changed the foreground. After printing this starting task, we are turning back our console color to white. So this is simply a random number generation loop. We are running it for the counter number of times. Then we are printing the task ID. Then we are printing the generated random number. The generated random number falls between the 0 and maximum, which we supplied here as a second parameter. Then once this random number generation task is finished, we are stating that ending task in green color. After that, we are setting the console window to white color. That's all. We are done with the task. Our program contains a static method genRandom, so we can directly call that here. We'll rebuild this solution. So we will change this property name as, so it will be meaningful if I use it as a task ID. So rebuild all succeeded and the output is here on this location. Let me copy this. So you can also use a normal command prompt window. So 012 ThreadPool.exe. So in our example, we asked to generate we asked to generate 20 random numbers. Now we will turn it as 50 and we will change this to generate a random number between 0 to 1000 and we will say the task ID as 4 and we will retest this. So you can see now task is displaying as a task 4, and it generated a random number, and the random number now falls between 0 and 1000. In our previous example, unfortunately I deleted that. The generated random number is between 0 to 100. Now the function genRandom is ready to act as a task. In the next video, we will create multiple tasks and we will submit it to the ThreadPool, so that you will be seeing task 1, task 2, task 3 all are running in parallel with a different sequence number generated here. That's all here in this video. If you need, you can download the code from video description. The code snippets will be provided whenever applicable. You can always check the video description to download the code. Thank you for watching. Bye.